For for a fact, they both don't like that woman.
Yep,
Yeah.
I told you.
I tell you that because furthermore, if you look at the situation, their father met that woman when he was 29. Do you know how old Diana was? 16. Diana was
Oh
16.
my goodness.
My man
What
was
would they say in 2023?
You see? The
Hey.
age police have not said anything.
The age
So
police.
now, when your
Severe grooming.
Kati, imagine your mother goes on TV
brutal, man.
and says your father and his descendants and his predecessors are bullying me. They're making me not eat. The woman is giving me sleepless nights. And then my mother dies, and then you go and marry that woman. Huh? You think I'm
How do
gonna
you
like
say?
that woman?
Witch.
That is a slap in the face.
A big slap in the face. But for William, as you said, he's sucking up because what? For him, he wants to be king.
He wants to be
Yeah,
king.
He wants to be king.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
but Harry, my guy, my brother,
My guy.
sticking up for his
William
brother.
is what you call a man that does not stand for anything, can fall for anything.
He will fall. Look at him; he's just like the wind.
fall.
That's why his head is falling as well. His hair is falling out.
Allegedly, he's also like father, like son. I hear.
Yeah.
He also has a side copying, but
Allegedly, man.
Allegedly.
Is this a news flash?
And allegedly-
Are you breaking?
she was there at the
We
coronation.
didn't confirm it. You didn't hear it here.
Me, I'm just talking what I read in the newspapers.
Yeah.
What newspaper is this?
That already she was also there at the coronation. On Camilla's side. That's what I saw.
William had chest, eh?
Allegedly. So for me, I don't think they like her, but they tolerate her.
So they have a department of side piece affair.
Uh-huh.
Was it me? Did you not see that? Did you not see that?
Hi everyone. Hope you're doing well. So sorry with the mix-up of times. I am not doing well with these. I'm changing in time zones, but we got there eventually. We are here, and that's what matters. Hey V, how you doing? Welcome everyone. Please hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for getting me to 18,000. 18,000 of you subscribe to this channel. You know, back in the day, I did try to start YouTube. I had a fashion YouTube, a makeup YouTube. I had a book review YouTube. I was actually part of the original BookTube. So this was when BookTube first became a thing. I don't think I ever got more than maybe 700 or 800 subscribers at the most. So this is a huge accomplishment for me. I think people really underestimate what it takes to have a YouTube channel that has a growing audience, that has a dedicated audience. I think they underestimate actually that it's its own art. Like there is an art to YouTube and doing it well, and especially with the format that I'm doing, like daily podcasts, daily commentary, and live. There is an art to that, and so I'm so grateful that you give me the opportunity to be able to do this, and whether you support me, whether it's with your time or whether it's with your donations. So grateful, and thank you. And I just can't believe from where we've started, and now we're here, and let's keep it going. Share the channel around if you think there's people who either would be interested or need to be swayed. Come have them listen to our positive propaganda, because we needed a change in narrative. Well, not even a change in narrative, just a balance in narrative, because it just wasn't there. And I'm so glad that we have that now. Right, a couple things to get through today. Aviation, you said some folks were discussing the possibility of Meghan and the kids coming to Germany for the Invictus Games. I remember Harry last year did mention about wanting to take Archie one day. He's old enough now. Yeah, I think Archie's old enough. Even Lily, like she was at the parade last we saw them. It was interesting. Somebody messaged me and said, with Meghan coming or speaking at the closing, that was never. Was that ever? Somebody please remind me. Was that ever confirmed by the Sussex's people? Or was that something that a tabloid wrote and then it ended up becoming news? Because I can't actually even remember now. I just saw it being shared around and a lot of squaddies were sharing it around. So I assumed, well, if they weren't rubbishing it, then maybe there has to be some truth to it. Can somebody please confirm that? I'm sure we will see her. I'd be very surprised if we don't. But it's just whether or not we'll see her at the opening or the closing. Rahini said, congratulations, let's get her to 100k. Well, Hugo Talks at the height of his channel, I think had something like 140 something thousand subscribers. That was at the height of his channel before he stopped doing Harry and Meghan news and just switched to alternative news. So it is possible. I mean, for me, I'm just happy for anybody who wants to listen to me, whether it's one person or 100k. Like, I'm just here to put the message out, and so we have a record of some alternative voices who spoke out against the mainstream narrative, because people will be able to look back at all of these videos. I mean, we're coming to 700 videos, and not just my channel, all of the other squaddy channels as well. But if we can get to 100,000, that'll be cool. Definitely, I would love to get I think it's a silver play button if you get to 100,000. I think it's like silver, gold, platinum, and then they have like a special one for just the very, very few who get to like I mean, aren't there some YouTubers with like 100,000 subscribers? Crazy. That's not what we're here for. We're just here to get the message out, and I'm so happy with the community that we have. Okay. Thank you so much, Elaine Parker, for the super sticker. Thank you very much. One of the originals. Been here for a long time. Somebody messaged me on Twitter today saying, "Oh, they only just found my channel, and they love the way that I always have William's video at hand about him talking about a smile and a wave here and there."
I'm sorry we can only come and give words and comfort, but we are thinking about you the whole time and we really care about what's going on. So
Sometimes it's lots more than financial.
well, if we can give you the odd smile here and there, that's important. So you know.
And today, William has given us a new tagline. I'll get you money for that. I'm going to explain this later on in the podcast because, Lord, the way my eyes rolled into the back of my head. Oh my gosh. Kids and Door, when did Egg say, "I'll get you money for that"? I'm going to get into that because I just can't believe it. Right. I think we have thank you, Teresa. Thank you for the super sticker. Much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. Matty Rambo, if you're listening, I think you are still blocked, but I'm trying to unblock you. It's because I have a block list of almost 400 people, and YouTube, for some reason, they don't let you filter out names to unblock people. You have to go through every single name. It's really annoying. But Matty Rambo, if you're listening, I am going to unblock you. I will. Okay, let's get into it, shall we? Now, I actually forgot to report on this yesterday. The 5 former Met officers who have pleaded guilty at Westminster to sending grossly offensive RS messages on WhatsApp, including about the Duchess of Sussex. Tell us something we don't know. And at the end of the day, these are people who are meant to be protecting the public. And some of these officers, higher ranking, certainly if they work for MI5, MI6, protecting the royals. And yet these people will want to claim that Meghan was welcomed. It's just, what do you even say? Meghan is not safe in the UK. She's just not. Definitely not by herself. Not without Harry. And that's really sad. And her kids also. I don't think the kids are safe to come to the UK unattended, especially with the issue with security and that still being up in the air. And even if that is resolved and Harry would be granted the armed police protection, I still don't think they can be trusted. Because at the end of the day, the police and the protection services, they are effectively branches of government. And the monarchy is also a branch of government. And, you know, they can make accidents happen if they want accidents to happen. I'm sorry to say it, but I just do not think that these people can be trusted. Because ain't no way your son, who's a prince, who served in Afghanistan for 2 tours, was in Canada with his family, and you cut security. You cannot tell me that you care about their protection or safety or well-being. So anyway, Meghan is not in the UK, Harry's not in the UK. They're happy in America and safe in America, and that's what matters. The UK establishment can do all the nonsense that it wants on its own soil. Harry will dip in, dip out, and we'll live happy ever after in California. In other news, the tabloid papers are fishing for content. There is a journalist called Aislinn Grace. She says she's a journalist with PA, the UK's national news agency, and she was asking a squaddy who'd posted a picture of Harry. I think this is Harry coming out the chapel. So I think it's actually this picture, him coming out the chapel after paying respect to the Queen. And so she was asking the person who took that photo, could you send me a direct message because she wanted to use the picture? And then Squaddies saw it and said, so you can twist the narrative and attack him like you normally do? Is it to see how you guys can go after Harry some more? Grace, leave Harry alone. You wretched media trolls drove Harry and Meghan out of the UK and you're still stalking them. Go cover whatever William and Kate are doing. Indeed. Go and cover whatever your faves are doing. And yes, Harry did not go straight to Germany, as Chris Ship falsely reported. Taliban Chris, who was out here literally crying on behalf of the Taliban because Harry had the nerve to talk about his war kills. He went on ITV and said that, Harry was straight out and straight to Germany. And that's not true. In the morning, Harry went to the chapel to pay his respects to the Queen. And he's probably on his way to Germany now. So never believe what these people say. Because they're either reporting false news or writing stories and then getting other people to put the faces on their stories when their stories are bigoted. Now, Afua Hirsch, who was actually in the Netflix documentary, Harry and Meghan's Netflix documentary, she responded to this news about the Daily Fail getting black faces on ghost-written articles that contain bigoted content. And she wrote, never in 25 years in journalism have I found it standard practice for comment pieces to be ghost-written. Entire point of comment is to reflect someone's authentically held view. Rewarding us for anti-blackness is one thing. Literally turning us into avatars for RS ideas. Wow. So this is not standard practice at all. It's one thing for a person of color or a black person to write a coonish article. That's been happening for a while. But to get a non-black person to write that article and then put a black face on it, that's something entirely different. I've actually never heard of that until now. And this, it would appear, is a practice at the Daily Fail. The Daily Fail, owned by Jonathan Rothermere, one of the Brexit billionaires, who doesn't even pay tax. I mean, this is what this guy is pushing. He must be still absolutely pressed like a panini that Meghan mentioned him in her court case win. And it's about time someone said his name. I feel like we don't even appreciate the boldness of Meghan to mention Jonathan Rothermere. Because up until now, the boogeyman has always been Rupert Murdoch. And Rothermere just somehow managed to go under the radar very quietly and just enjoy all his money and the power that he wields over the press and people's minds. But Meghan said, nope, we're going to know your name, Rothermere. Now, in slightly nicer news, Better Up and Invictus, Better Up, where Harry has a job, they are continuing their partnership. Liam Wakefield, who is a community member of We Are Invictus, said, Better Up has made a massive difference. At first, I didn't think it would have the kind of impact that it has had on me professionally, but it did. The coach I was working with really went, okay, what can you look at doing that's going to really make you the best version of you? And it's put me on this path now. And I'm so grateful every day I get to live this kind of life. It's fantastic. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. If any of you bodies have had the opportunity to use Better Up services, definitely do message me and let me know. Love to hear your personal experience about it. And it's great to see that something that Harry is in charge of and a place where he has a job actually coming together and forming a fantastic partnership. Because could you imagine if they were able to, and I'm going to assume this is something that Harry could be working towards, getting Better Up contracted by the military in different countries. That would be a massive contract. That is tens of millions of revenue for BetterUp. Also, over in Dusseldorf, the arena is ready. This is one of the most interesting and unique arenas I have ever seen. So it's like a multi-use space. This is the main arena. FYI, I still have that ticket for the opening ceremony. Please, someone, anyone, if you are on the floor in Dusseldorf, I do not want that ticket to go to waste. You got to remember that I was in the UK still in November of last year, right? And I didn't really know how this year exactly was going to progress. At that time, I assumed actually that I was going to work towards residency in Portugal. So I thought that I was still going to be in Portugal. Hence, I thought, oh, I'll just fly over to Dusseldorf. But now I'm all the way over in Malaysia. Ain't no way I'm going to be flying to Germany. So if anybody wants that ticket, or you know anybody that wants a ticket, if you're on the floor, message me. I will just email you the ticket. And yes, last night Harry was at the World Child Awards, gave an incredible speech, met with the families. In his speech, he spoke about the Queen and how he would have wanted him to be there last year, but of course he had to pay his respects. And the families just looked so happy, joyful. This is Harry in his element. The family at the bottom there that you can see with the young man in the wheelchair, they were actually on Sky News. It was actually a very sweet segment, I have to say. The journalist on Sky News handled it very well. The family was very happy. The mother was very happy, and it was a very inspirational segment of this young man who's suffering with quite a debilitating condition, but nonetheless smiling and trying to get through life the best he can, and with the help of charities like Well Child, who help to offer carers and relief for these families who have to take care of disabled children. And just what an amazing organization it is. And yeah, Harry was meeting with the families and just giving the good vibes. This is Harry at his best when he can connect with people, and he's able to connect with people so well. Doesn't mind making fun of himself. You can see him there making faces. There was another really sweet video where there was a little girl. She was wearing a Cinderella dress and she was just dancing around, not being uptight and pompous and, just being Harry. Right, we'll get to your comments before we go on to the next thing, because I know you're just waiting for that funny William video. My lord, you said, I'll get you money for that is the new smile and wave. It is. I'm going to be trolling with that video so much now. Oh, Patricia Nixon, thank you for being a member for 10 months. Much appreciated. Thank you. 10 whole months you've been here. Yeah, Meghan lives in their minds rent-free. Rent-free, honey. Gas bill paid, water bill paid, groceries paid also. Hi everyone, if you're just joining us, 1,000 of you in the chat. Amazing. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe button, please. Teresa, hell to the no for any squaddy to do this fast of a show. What do you mean, like be involved with the press? Absolutely not. All right, next thing. Yes. So William decided to pop up on the day that his brother came back, having not been seen for a long time. That was one long vacation they had. And then we get this. So Saint Patron of Ending Homelessness was out at Pret. Now, I don't actually know what they were doing there. But they were there. Presumably this is something to do with some kind of patronage. He was there with Stephen Butler. Now, Stephen is the guy in the back. Stephen is actually biracial himself. He is the founder of A Diary of a CEO, which is a huge podcast. I think it's actually the #1 podcast in the UK, or it's taken that number one spot many, many times, where he interviews entrepreneurs, just like different wealthy people. He was criticized for platforming Matt Hancock, who was the failed health secretary during the Mr. C pandemic. And he decided, for whatever reason, to pop up to this event with William. I guess they needed a well-known face. Paul Gascoigne, who is a famous ex-footballer, was also there. Now, I don't know if William's people even tell him about who's going to be there, but he didn't recognize Paul Gascoigne, and he seemed surprised that he was there. He was like, "Oh, why are you here?" Like, can you imagine? Oh no, sorry, he didn't say why are you. Yeah, he did say why are you here, but he also said, "Oh, is that you? Is that really you?" Like, this is one of the most famous ex-footballers in the United Kingdom. Did no one on his team tell him that Paul Gascoigne was going to be there? Also, what's interesting, Paul Gascoigne back in the day was ripped to shreds by the tabloid Murdoch media. So I wonder if Mr. Gascoigne can ask William to cut him a check from the check that Murdoch gave him. But what was the most ridiculous thing about this entire meeting, and I'm going to play the video now, William sees the guy who has The Big Issue magazine, but it would appear that he neither recognizes the magazine or the man. And I believe that this is the same man who he took a picture with back when he was giving out the Big Issue out on the streets. You know, when there was the so-called surprise moment where William just went out onto the streets and was giving out The Big Issue. The Big Issue, of course, being a magazine that is distributed by homeless people. And I spoke about at the time that I actually find this magazine a little bit dodgy. The homeless people they've got to buy the magazine. I think it's like for £1.50 and then sell it for like £3. So they're only making like a £1.50 profit. And if they can't get a refund on any magazines that they don't sell, I don't really think that is a good way of helping homeless people, in my opinion. But nonetheless, William got involved with them. He posed with the guy who was selling The Big Issue while wearing his Rolex. And all these months later, it would appear that like he just did not recognize the guy or the magazine. So I'm going to play it for you, and then you can tell me. And then he also says, "Oh, we'll get you money for that." As in, we'll get you money for the magazine. Whose money, William? My taxpayer money? Let's roll the footage.
It's not a little bit, so we'll come this way actually.
What's this?
Big Issue.
Oh, you're selling it outside?
Yes, and then Bournemouth's going on the franchising for Bournemouth.
Can I get some money for this?
Roaster.
Gaza.
Oh, Gaza, how are you?
Is it actually you?
Yes. It's going okay.
Yeah?
It's pretty good.
There's some decent articles coming through now as
Very
well.
good, yes. And now, one of our big YouTube sellers is in here. He's been doing it quite a few years, and he's
See as well.
yes, sir.
Yeah, Brett do an awful lot, and we're going to do 500 more people in Bournemouth through the employment and education there.
This is historic opportunity.
Say that.
Thanks very much.
Try it first.
I will. It's lovely, thank you.
What's even more interesting about this is that he's dressed in a suit for an event where he's going to be wearing an apron. But let's just play that again one more time.
It's not a little bit, so we'll come this way actually.
What's this?
Big Issue.
Oh, you're selling it outside?
Yes, and then Bournemouth's going on the franchising for Bournemouth.
Can I get some money for this?
Roaster.
Gaza.
Oh, Gaza, how are you?
Is it actually you?
Yes.
Okay, let me just stop it there because do you notice how he clicks his fingers over at who I'm assuming is the security guard? So who is he when he clicks his fingers and says, "Can we get? We're going to get you money for this." Who is he actually talking to? Is is he talking to the room full of British taxpayers in that room? Is he talking to Stephen Bartlett there, who's worth about I don't know, what's his net worth? So like 10 million or something, maybe even more. Is that who he's talking to when he says we're going to get you money for this? I mean, self-made, mind you. But I don't know why he'd want to be associating with William.
It's not a little bit, so we'll come this way actually.
Look, look in this way. Big issue.
Oh, you're selling it outside?
Yes, and then Bournemouth's going on the French ID for Bournemouth.
Can I give you some money for this?
It's Gaza. Oh, Gaza, how are you?
Is it actually you?
Yeah, how are you?
And then also, did you notice how the man who he says we're going to get you money for this? He actually continues to try to talk to William, but William is he's trying to get away from that conversation. And that's when he spots Paul Gascoigne. That's when he's like, oh, Gaza. Gaza was his nickname back in the day.
It's not a little bit, so we'll come this way actually.
Look, look in this way. Big issue.
Oh, you're selling it outside?
Okay, so if you don't catch that, he actually says, oh, what's this? When he goes to look at the big issue that he was giving out with the homeless gentleman. I do apologize. I actually, I'm going to play the video just one more time because it's just hilarious. But I'm going to try and find the picture of him with that guy.
It's not a little bit, so we'll come this way actually.
Look, look in this way. Big issue.
Oh, you're selling it outside?
Yes, and then Bournemouth's going on the French ID for Bournemouth.
Can I give you some money for this?
It's Gaza. Oh, Gaza, how are you?
Is it actually you?
Yeah, how are you? It's going okay.
Yeah?
It's pretty good.
There's some decent articles coming through now as
Very
well.
good, yes. And one of our big YouTube sellers is in here. He's been doing it quite a few years, and he's
as well.
Yes, sir.
They're prepped to an awful lot, and we're going to do 500 more people in Bournemouth through the employment and education there.
William, Your Highness. This is historic opportunity. Thanks very much.
Try it first.
I will. It's lovely. Thank you.
Okay, so there's the picture. I don't actually think it's the same guy. Now looking at it again, but yeah, just a very awkward exchange. Like this is just not William's domain. And mind you, for most of royal history, royals did not interact like this with the general public. It was mostly hand waving, ribbon cutting. If you were lucky, you might get a handshake, but they were wearing gloves. And this kind of very close interactions, I don't think this was ever really part of the plan. I think things changed when Diana came along. Just because of the way that she was able to connect with people and wasn't afraid to reach out and hug and ask if you're okay. But it's something that comes naturally to you, I think, if it's in your heart and in your soul. It's not something that you can put on, or it's awkward and fake. You know, like play it again. I'm so happy that now I have two epic pieces of footage of William doing William. Marjorie said Jason gave him a thumbs up. Well, This is the problem when you have yes men and women around you. Yolanda, you said Harry would have stayed and engaged meaningfully. I think so. Carolyn, you're saying all that is staged. Well, I do think that it was for some kind of actual event. Although interestingly, this was not in the royal calendar. So I'm wondering if this is something that they planned quite last minute. It just kind of seemed all over the place, and I don't know. Again, I don't know what the purpose of that visit was. They were at Pret, which is a coffee chain in the UK. So I've got no idea what the purpose of this visit was, because mind you, whatever they were doing, and the fact that they had Stephen Bartlett there and security there and whatnot, this is probably something to do with the charity, but I've got no idea what. It was all a lie. Yeah, it was all a lie. I've got that one too. Wait, where is it? Oh, no, wrong one.
It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie. She lied. It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie. She lied. It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie. She lied.
Indeed, it was all a lie. Anywho, yeah, it is 1 year. 1 year since the Queen passed. Now, the other royals, you had William and Kate up in Wales for a private service. There were crowds outside, but it was just them two in the this chapel here. Camilla and Charles were also out. So yeah, it was kept all relatively low key. And what a crazy day it was 1 year ago today. I was still in London. I heard, let me try and remember what happened that day. So I heard that Harry and Meghan had cancelled their trip to Wildchild somewhere around what was that, like 10ish? And then I heard that the family were going up to Balmoral, and that's when it was like, ooh. And then the Prime Minister put out this strange statement. The Prime Minister that didn't last longer than a lettuce, Liz Truss. The Prime Minister that gave Lizzie the handshake of death. She didn't say that the Queen had died, but it was just kind of like, oh, we're it was like one of those we're concerned and praying kind of statements, but she didn't actually say the Queen has passed. And then somewhere around maybe like 12, 1ish, Sky News alerted us to the fact that there was a note being passed around Parliament, because Parliament was in session. And then around 1:30ish, I get a text message from someone who knows someone who's close to the police, saying that they have triggered protocol for London Bridge. And then at around 2ish, the news color schemes all started changing black. It was like yellow and black, or white and black, but just turning black. And then maybe like 2, 3ish, you saw the man on the BBC change into a black suit. And that's when it was like, okay, y'all, definitely she's passed. And then officially, and we were live on the podcast. Somewhere, was it like maybe 6ish? They announced it officially. And I actually had a call in that day. A lot of you called in. I remember Rahini called in. And yeah, we just absorbed it all, this moment in history, because she had reigned for so long. You know, the Queen as a figure. I'm not a monarchist, and I will never be a monarchist. But the Queen as a a figurehead, as this kind of symbol of Britishness and empire, will forever fascinate me from a perspective of someone who enjoys dissecting, psychology and society and, why we do things, believe things, follow things. She came into power at a very young age. She was very young, very beautiful. And I think just she was the perfect propaganda tool, really, for this institution. Young, beautiful, well spoken, carried herself perfectly and impeccably for pretty much her entire reign. And because she was seen more than she was heard, you can project a lot on her, even though you don't really actually know her. And so it's always interesting to me when people say things like, "Oh, she was very sweet. She was like a grandmother." Well, she wasn't your grandmother. She was head of the British monarchy. So yeah, I found the psychology behind the Queen, but behind the whole idea of monarchy and why people follow it and why people are enthralled by it, to be fascinating. Because I used to be one of those people. I'm not like crazy into it, but definitely just fascinated by it. I watched William and Kate's wedding, um, and just the way in which this institution throughout history has been able to uphold themselves. Like there's so many elements to it, but the Queen has been one of the most powerful, just because of the way she came into power and how people were so dazzled by her, and then the way that she maintained her image for 70 plus years. It's definitely something that I think historians are gonna look at for generations to come, and above all other monarchies and even democratic political leaders. Quite fascinating from that perspective. Um, Aside from all of that, though, Harry loved his grandmother. Regardless of what the media want to say, I do believe that the Queen liked Meghan, and I've always felt that the vitriol and the confusion from within the palace came from the other royals. I don't believe that it came from the Queen. I don't believe that it came from Philip. I think they were genuinely happy with the work that Harry and Meghan were doing. And at the end of the day, as someone who would have wanted to see her monarchy continue, I do believe the Queen respected Harry and Meghan's work and work ethic. Because at the end of the day, as far as she's concerned and the establishment is concerned, well, all the smarter people in the establishment concerned, not that many of them, the most important thing for the crown is for the crown to continue. And if Meghan had been welcomed, and if the way that they wanted to do things had been respected, I think you would have still had a good couple of generations more of this institution. But it wasn't meant to be. And it is the vipers in grey suits and the envy of the other royals that has basically destroyed that. Now you have a monarchy that is disintegrating. Now, 1 year later, they couldn't be more unpopular. Now, 1 year later, people aren't really interested in them in terms of what they're doing. Other than if it centers around drama. That's what people want to know. And for sure, there are things that the press, especially in regards to William and Kate, don't want to touch or talk about. And then you have the drama with Prince Andrew. My. All right, we'll get to your comments. Was there actually anything else that I wanted to mention? No. I think that was all. Do any of you want to do call-ins? Does anyone want to call in? Maybe I'll do a few. Thank you so much to Vera, and do a YouTube search for Pro Harry and Meghan, Morali breaking news, Andrew Rock with shocking allegations. Yes, I've heard about that. The whole thing about allegedly the tour with Ukraine. There was only one news outlet that reported on that. It was a rather obscure one. I know that there was a man that was talking in this video. He like you didn't actually see his face; it was just his voice. So I'm aware of that and that news and those allegations, but just for the sake of um, just not risking any kind of legal repercussions, it's just not something that I'm gonna cover. But I'm aware of that. If anything more solid comes out, then I will cover it, but I'm not covering it now. Vera, you said, I take it that you get 100% donations through PayPal. That is what I'll use in the future. Oh, thank you so much. Yes. Through PayPal, I get pretty much 100% donations. I think it's only like a 1% commission fee. Through Buy Me a Coffee, I get 95% of your donations. But through YouTube, I only get 70% of your donations. Through Cash App, I get all of your 100% of your donations, but Cash App isn't available in every country. So just so you know, and thank you very much, Farah. Right. Let's see. Okay, I will actually put the invite link. I'm only taking. How many calls am I going to take? Because it's 1:30 a.m. here in Malaysia, and I'm tired. Okay, I'll take 3 callers, but only 5 minutes each. Okay. Let's see. Here is the link from the live. Star, come on, and Liz will tell me Margaret was beautiful. Yeah, do you know what? I do actually think Margaret was more beautiful. I do, but I do think that Lizzie was beautiful too. Margaret was just more beautiful, but she wasn't in line. So yeah, awful for Harry being ostracized at the time. He could have brought the family together, and he could have been the one to do that, right? There was something else that I was going to mention about that day. Actually, no, it wasn't about the day the Queen passed. Oh yes, this is what I was going to mention. So February of last year, there was an article that came out in the Daily Fail, and it was about how Charles was ready to be king, and we need to prepare for Charles as king. And I thought that this was very strange that the Daily Fail would be writing this article. Now, what I didn't catch on at the time, because I didn't know that she had been brought into the royal fold, was that article was written by Kate Manzi. Kate Manzi, who's now in a lawsuit with Harry over a fake article regarding his, false statements regarding his security in the Daily Fail. And she is definitely one of the palace mouthpieces. And in hindsight now, the fact that she would write that article all the way in February, only for the Queen to pass away in September. And I actually posted at the time, because it came up as a memory on my Instagram. I posted at the time, and I'd even forgotten, is there something wrong with the Queen? And I do think there's a lot more that happened behind the scenes that we don't know about. I think she was ill for some time, and they were keeping it quiet. They were keeping it secret. Omolara, you said, never liked the idea of worshipping human beings. Yeah, I don't like that idea either. I respect people for what they do and the way in which they give back to their communities and the way in which they can inspire people and bring people together. That is why I like Harry and Meghan. If you take those titles away tomorrow, it wouldn't mean anything to me. I'm still going to be a Harry and Meghan fan because I like them as people and what they stand for. I became aware of them, or we're aware of them because they are royals and because Meghan married into this family. But it's what they've done with that position that matters, I think, to most of us. All right, let's just get through some of your comments before we let Rahini and Valerie speak. All right, Rahini, recovering royalist. You go.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Hi, I can hear you. Can Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah. My headphones is
Okay,
it
go
doesn't
ahead.
seem to be working. Hi Squaddies.
Oh, are you in wind? There's a bit of a rumbling noise, or is that just you moving around?
I'm near the fan. The place is so hot. I have the
Oh.
air conditioned unit and I'm naked in front of the fan.
Ah.
I swear, I took a shower and then I just laid on naked in front of the fan with the air condition at full blast and I'm still hot. Somebody invoke the devil. We are in the last days. We need to repent. Oh my God.
Okay. Oh wow.
It's really hot.
Yeah.
Whew.
Is it just hot or is it hot and humid? Because it's the worst thing when it's
It's
humid.
hot, humid. There isn't even any breeze. The trees are not moving.
Oh gosh.
The
That's the
trees
worst.
are not moving. Even my house lizard Maurice is upset with me.
Oh dear. Well,
I
it's
saw
been
him panting. It's really hot. Like wow. Which is
Oh,
strange
pray-
because right now it's hurricane season, so it shouldn't be
Hmm.
this hot. It should be overcast. It should be cold. Climate
it's the
change.
global
What we
boiling.
gonna?
It's
Yeah,
global boiling.
it is. Is it hot where you
So-
are?
Oh yeah, it's really hot and humid. Like it's like 31, and yeah, it's Malaysia, very hot and humid. But yeah,
Wow.
it's been 1 year since I was alive, and we had the breaking news, and I played it, and I remember
Yes.
you were there.
What was strange is that because at the time I was still on Twitter, so it was as if we were like on death watch from about 1 o'clock UK time, which was a really, really weird thing because I remembered it was the messaging was very murky, like they didn't know what to tell us. You were getting mixed messages, and then because the guys they were wearing black long before the announcement was made, I remember that there were people who were wearing black already, so it was as if okay, it was near, and
Mm.
it's a very weird thing. But I think for me, the Queen was the one constant in an ever-changing world. Right? The sun was in the sky and Queen Elizabeth was on the British throne. That was the one thing you were sure of no matter what happened. And I know it seemed naive to say, but nobody, to be honest, we never really thought she would die. It was like, she's not going to die. She's always going to be Queen, which is a stupid thing to say, right?
Yeah.
It's very naive
But
to say
it
it.
goes back to what I was saying though, right? It's that propaganda. It's like it's when you create a message that is so powerful that it overrides reality. Of course she was gonna pass away.
Yeah, it was like she's going to live forever because she is the Queen of England. So to see her mortality, I'm not lying. I was a bit nervous. I was sad. I cried. I did cry because it was as if okay, if this constant is now gone in the world, is anything real? It was like your bubble burst a little bit, and it was kind of sad to think that this is really the death of an era of her. No matter what happened, she was there, and now she's not there anymore. I think if maybe she had abdicated a while ago, what?
I was just going to add to that the reaction on social media, and this is the power of I think social media now is that you can really get an honest or more like balanced point of view from different people, because if you were just listening to the mainstream media, you would think that everybody was mourning. Now, if you looked at social media, oh my goodness, Irish Twitter was tap dancing, and then Irish Twitter and Black Twitter found each other. And it was just, it was a whole cookout was happening between Black Twitter and Irish Twitter.
I know because while for somebody like me who's a recovering royalist, the recovering royalist, while she represented this fantasy, this fairy tale for the rest of the world in many parts of the world, she was the she was the ultimate symbol of white supremacy and colonization. Like she was that. And when that symbol was, I don't want to sound crass, but taken down, it felt like a new era again, like this symbol that was always used against us, plowed us, that we had to respect it, and the fact that she was very grandmotherly. So to question her and to question decisions that are taken in her name would be being mean to an old woman, and you're songing evil and you're crass. So when that little club that they would use is now gone, it felt freeing to some people, and they couldn't contain themselves. They said, yeah, Lizzie in a box, and bye, we don't really care. And they showed how they felt because she was that symbol for them as well. So it did feel like a changing of the guard. It felt like, and then of course when you consider that the next one, he have a lot more years behind him than in front, right? So we don't think that he'll be there for long. And because the minds of young people are changing, the next one after him, Peggy, may not make it. He may not make it with a crown on my head, and neither will George may not make it either. So that felt like, yes, they finally tore down this massive symbol of white supremacy and colonization and oppression, that it's like a blow that was dealt, and nature finally took its course, evolution finally happened. But again, for me, it was a very sad moment, because I grew up with a picture of the Queen on the face saver, and it was a sad day. And then too, I knew what was coming afterwards. I knew that Tampisha and his horse was going to be coronated. And I'm not lying, on the coronation day, I cried. Because again, like I said, if you are a woman who've ever been mistreated by a man, and I have been there, I had a guy abandon me when I was pregnant. And then when I had a miscarriage, he was like, well, it's dead. What do you want me to do? And I was like, I felt that pain for her. I'm like, you did this? You actually crowned this Seabiscuit? Like, for real, you did that? And I think as any woman who's ever loved and been there for a man, and have a man do that to you and in front of everybody, like, they have no shame. And then forcing my son to have to smile and nod to her, and then forcing my son to have to kneel in front of her, because William had to kneel in front of her.
Yeah,
he had to kneel in front, like.
And he looked miserable in that moment.
He did. I'm not lying, I felt bad for him. I did. I felt bad for him. I was like, yeah, I feel really bad for you that you have to, but he had no choice. And you did that when there was absolutely no reason for you to do that. So I think after her death, we knew these things will come in, and it was just so grimy and disgusting. And it made me sick to my stomach. And it was like, and then, of course, we saw them just go on the attack with Meghan. And oh my God, you remember when she did the walkabout? My stomach was in the floor. Like, you could see the terror on her face. She was so scared. She was walking around so timid. She looked like she was a 4-year-old child. Like, I was waiting for Harry to pick her up and hold her in his arms, and she to be sucking her thumb, because she looked so small and so scared on that day, so timid. And this is the Meghan they wanted. This is the docile, helpless woman that they wanted, right? And they reveled in that, Trust me, they were like, yes. They reveled, because on social media, you heard the Rangers. Look at her looking so helpless. And that young girl who hugged her, that was Jesus. Like, God was like, don't worry, honey, I'm here. That was the ancestors coming through. Don't worry, we got you. And then the curtsy. Oh, yes. The curtsy was just magnificent. I was like, this is what you call a princess, you idiots. This is what it looks like. But y'all didn't want it. Y'all didn't want it. Y'all had Kate, playing Laura Croft Tomb Raider with all the Queen's jewels. A good breeze pass and she fall over with all them jewels and fall on she head. You understand? Like, I swear on her skinny little legs, I was like, oh my God, Kate is gonna fall and she's gonna tumble over onto the casket. Oh my God, all of them you had to wear, Kate? All? I mean, one and two little piece, but it's like she took all. I was honestly waiting for her to fall over so much. You understand? And then you had Megan with her beautiful dress and her gorgeous hat, and she just simply calmed there and she gave the Queen what she deserved. She did her curtsy, she said her goodbye, she held her husband's hand because that's what he needed her to do. And it was just beautiful. It was beautiful. And then they went back home. And then we had the docu-series. so it was a roller coaster. It was such a roller coaster, like bam, 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 bam. But I'm just so grateful, and I'm glad to be here. It's such a nice place, and I don't know, you guys. It's quite I don't know. I love you all. You guys make my life happy. You bring joy into my world, and the level of positivity and love here is just really, really nice. And I want to thank you guys for that. And Anne, I have finished. I'm doing the finishing touches on your bathing suit. I hope it fits.
Oh,
It is a medium. It is a large. Because I had a co-worker who's about your size, and I did a medium. She tried it on and she said there was more meat than rice showing. And we can't have all the pum pum outside. So I don't know if your pum pum might be smaller than hers. I don't know. But I said, to err on the side of caution, I'm doing a large. And that is what I'm doing.
If there is a lot of pum pum showing, then I can wear it at Carnival when I come to visit you.
Oh my Lord. No. I'm gonna take you to church camp. That's what I used to do. But my carnival days ended long time. I'm a counselor at church camp now.
Okay.
Yeah, I might run away and still go to Juve, but still. But you guys have a good day.
Oh, thank you, Rahini. Thank you for making us laugh as always, and thank you. I can't wait to get my bathing suit. All right, Valerie, you can take us out, hon. How are you?
And you? Good evening, Scotties. How are you? I hope everybody's well. I found it very interesting about the Queen. Queen Elizabeth reigned. I think she came to reign in 1953, something like that. And I think that my father, he came over here in 55, and he was talking. My parents were talking about the 50s. The thing with her, she represented the 1950s when I think they had just, some of the Commonwealth countries, they had just broken away. I think most of them broke away in the 1960s. But there was this patronizing thing about you're part of the Commonwealth, you were part of the Commonwealth. And we never really benefited from it on the surface, but it is all about colonialism, and we never benefited from it. And what has happened is that sometimes things are for a long time, not necessarily because they're good. It's because sometimes they're to show us that we need to change, but they never really wanted to. I think with Elizabeth, I think she generally liked Meghan and she loved Harry, and she generally liked Meghan because she used to spend a lot of time. They used to spend a lot of time with her. But the truth is, the sad thing with her relationship with her children, she couldn't be the mother, because maybe she was a proper mother to him. Yeah. He might not have developed all these Charles might not have been Charles might not have been so emotionally stunted, because the fact that he wants this worship. And what is very sad is that you mustn't be on the front page. I must be worshipped. I must be on the front page. I must be worshipped. And so I think what the thing is, Britain has got what they wanted. Yes, I know they might not say, but they've got what they wanted. And horrible as it is, and horrible that Harry and Meghan are, how Meghan was treated. Meghan is now living in America. She and Harry are happy, and you can see they're living their life. You can actually see it. And what probably sometimes upsets people is that the newspapers and the media, all of them wanted to kowtow and control her and let her be the shadow what she was. And because she's living her life, is they're very angry. But what this goes to show, your experience, your success is not dependent on someone else, and you have to make your own decision. You can't go and keep somebody down so you can rise, because even if you keep them down, you still will never rise.
Yes.
And that's the issue with William, because I'm the heir, but he doesn't do anything, whereas Harry is doing something. And it's no point getting angry about when they went to the Beyonce concert. They're free in private citizens. They can go anywhere they like.
But we know it makes some people furious because, and through no fault of their own, and any single time, I mean, Harry and Meghan just have to breathe, step out the house with one foot, and all the attention goes to them. And I think this is what scares them more than anything, because it goes back to what you're saying, right? Who's going to get on the front page?
I think what the biggest problem with England, and I realize with England, and I've come to realize, I think maybe America may be slightly different, or even Europe to a certain extent. But the thing with England is that they have this mentality where the only people who must be successful are rich people, come from aristocracy families. Anybody else, they mustn't have. And the truth is, the sad thing about it, and I started to read, like when Jesus talked about the kingdom of heaven within us, and what the problem is when you start to see yourself the way how you see yourself, instead of allowing the world to see you, you see yourself as something. This is what causes people to have the meltdown. Now, they keep on telling us that no one wants to talk to them, no one wants to this, no one wants to that, this, that, the other, she failed. Now you clearly see they're winning. She went to the Beyonce concert. She knows Kelly and Carrie Washington. She went to the Beyonce concert. She went there twice. And you're having a meltdown because this woman is out. And the truth is, what you wanted is when she left, she should have died. You're not saying she should have died, but she should have died. But then again, if you feel she should have died, who is going to take her life? You, or do you want your life to be taken? Because this is irrational, and I think it's rational. And I've seen all these people who hate on Meghan. It's not going well for them, and it is alleged that even Sophie Turner, it is alleged that she used to like Auntie Meghan's tweets. Where's the end for her?
Yes. So this is the lady who's Joe Jonas. Well, he's filed for. Not only has he filed for divorce, he's launched a very vicious smear campaign against her. Now, I mean, luckily in her situation, people are seeing through it. But you are right; she used to like Auntie Meghan tweets, and she also actually She also follows Gary Janetti, who posts really perverted posts about Prince George. Yeah, she follows him. Yes,
wow.
He posts really perverted posts about Prince George, and also really nasty things about Meghan as well. Yeah, she was following him.
But that's what messed up, because her sister-in-law is of Meghan's friend.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. She's friends with Priyanka Chopra, who's married to the other Jonas brother. But you're right. There seems to be this almost there's just this ominous karma that comes to everyone who has really had horrible things to say about Harry and Meghan.
But God said, "Do not touch my anointed." He said
Yes.
it. He said, "Do not touch my anointing. We're all anointed. We're all God's children. We're all God's." But he does not touch her. And my mother always said, she used to say, no one touches our family and get away with it. And Robbie knows his children. And it seems to me that all these people, like the one Alex, the one with Alex Jones, she's on the One Show. She made a nasty statement about Megan. You know what happened to her husband? Her husband is permanently sick and he's got mental issues. The other one who was in 101 Dalmatians or 103, she kept on making nasty. She and her husband are divorced because he's not speaking to her. And the other one on Jane Moore, she's getting divorced. The other one who said that they must throw them down the stairs. What's his name?
Oh yeah, that was Eamon Holmes who said that they should throw Harry off the balcony, and then he fell down the stairs and
he
back.
he hasn't been able to walk for a whole year. He's in a wheelchair and he's getting a special operation to stretch his back. The other one, a whole set of them, I don't know if they're not seeing, because it seems to me that everybody who puts their mouth on this girl, their mouth on this girl, it's not working. It's just it's like that. But then again, according to a friend of mine, Jesus is in the building. Michael's is unleashed, because it seems to me all these people are talking about Megan and their marriages are falling apart.
Yeah. Also, Sarah Vine, who wrote the infamous "I have a niggling feeling about Harry and Meghan's relationship." And it was her husband who got divorced, who divorced her. Can you imagine being so insufferable?
Have you noticed? Another thing to what I've noticed too is that their husbands, like for instance, that one who was in 101, her husband filed a divorce against her. The Jane Moore's husband said he wants a divorce. All of their husbands are filing a divorce against all these women who are anti-Meghan. It's not the women are filing. They say, I want to I'm married. Their husbands are filing a divorce against them.
Yeah. Megyn Kelly's next.
Yes, she is. Her sister died, you know. She is next. Yeah, sister died. Her sister died unexpectedly. Her sister got sick. She was always sick. And she died. I think she got complications. She died, and all this venom. And all this venting about Meghan and this, that, the other, something is happening. You can't. We're all connected. You cannot go and want evil to happen to somebody, and then you must have a happy life. It won't work that way.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Valerie, as always. It's been a crazy year.
Sorry.
It's been a crazy year, but we've got a lot of great stuff to look forward to now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, folks. Thank you, as always, you all, for calling in and supporting. Couldn't do it without you. I don't know if I said thank you to Joy, but thank you so much, Joy, for the super chat. Much appreciated. And time flies, right? Time really, really flies. I mean, if I have to think about, like, what have you done in a year? What have you done in a year? And it's when those big moments, like losing a monarch, happens. It's when you really start to measure your days, right? But anyway, we have some great things coming up. Invictus, Harry will be also giving a conference after the ceremony, I think, either after or before. So I'll update you on that. Hopefully we'll get to see Meghan. Who knows? We might even get to see the kiddies. To all of the squaddies, please do enjoy your time. Remember that you do not have to pay for tickets. Amazon is paying for all the tickets, so apart from the opening and the closing, of course. So you can just show up to the venues, enjoy the time, support all the athletes, but cheer on your countries. And obviously in big crowds, I'm sure they'll have great security, but just do be careful. Watch your pockets, your bags, and enjoy yourself. Do take pictures. You can send me on social media if you're on the ground and you want to come and talk. I would love to speak to you. And yeah, let's just enjoy the next couple of weeks. And we'll see what else is to come. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend, and we'll catch up tomorrow. Ciao.